What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon
What's up? What's up?
and LeVon Maynard.
Hey, welcome to the show.
What is going on? So, welcome to the weekly discussion. So, it should be Wednesday's episode. If you've been listening all week, Monday and Tuesday were our topics. Monday, we discussed some Five Eyes information organizations around the world that do intelligence, sharing their list of offenders and who is out there doing malware as a service and their techniques, tactics, procedures, and all that good stuff. Tuesday, we discussed the FBI's warning to the farming industry and how they're within the sights of ransomware gangs and what they should do to mitigate their risks. And then today, we have a discussion that comes from CNBC. The article is a very long title. Leaked documents show notorious ransomware group has an HR department, performance reviews, and an employee of the month. This one is written by Monica Buchanan. I cannot pronounce your whole name, but I'm not even going to try and mess that up. But I thought this one was pretty interesting. This is a last minute audible, right? Like whoever did the run of show, me, had an outdated article. So this one was more up to date. But I thought it was it's hilarious and deeply serious as well about how organized ransomware gangs are. So I definitely want to bring this one up and get the fella's opinion on this article. So basically, it's one of the world's most prolific ransomware groups out of Russia, of course, was identified by the FBI in 2021. They did a lot of cyber espionage, ransomware, all that other stuff. And then in these leaked documents that were pulled, it shows how organized crime is, to the effect of like they have their own executive manager that's in charge of their HR department, in charge of their finance department, which specializes in money laundering and transaction management. They're paying their employees in Bitcoin. They're getting salary pay. They have benefits out here, and just all of the other structures that are underneath it. Last year, I remember I was talking about how there was a hacker court, right? Like out there in the dark webs, there's an actual court that hackers could take other hackers to settle their disputes. And now we're seeing that the bigger ransomware gangs are very organized to the point of like it looks like a regular ordinary company, maybe even better in some regards. But I want to get you guys' opinion on this before I get too deep in the rabbit hole. What do you think about this?
That's all good. Yeah, it's definitely like it's super interesting. I mean, for them to be so organized and have their own like company structure is something to see. It kind of makes you think, I don't know, if they have these employees, quote unquote employees that are hackers, and I don't know. I was thinking to make maybe a scenario where one of the employees decides, you know what, I'm gonna try to hack my boss or something like that, or like try to hack something in my company because I think it's like, you know, something cool to do, or something, maybe a chance for me to get some money out of it. And also like the, you know, be some sort of like internal struggle where you know, the team is trying to prevent their own workforce from hacking their own systems, because they but it's kind of clever too. I mean, these these hackers are starting to get more organized and more like structured, to be able to impose their will on unsuspecting folks. But it's kind of, you know, it's interesting. It's also kind of scary at the same time that the hackers are so well organized that, you know, you never know how many organizations are out there like that are just like this, that are very structured, and especially if they're like state-sponsored organizations. I mean, they might be even more structured than you even realize. Like if it's, you know, let's give out an example, like, you know, maybe the president of Russia was, you know, has his own like organization that is structured just like this to hack, you know, hack the U.S. government. And I'm pretty sure something like that is in existence. So it's just goes to show you that, you know, you never know what kind of groups are out there. You never know how organized they are, but they will do everything in their power to get what they want, whether it's money or whether it's to destroy some sort of infrastructure, to affect somebody's life or something like that. They will take any steps they need to make that happen. But Shannon, what you think about this one?
So there's a couple of things that kind of like, one of them comes out kind of funny to me. So like if you ever seen Live Free or Die Hard, right? The Bruce Willis one. So that's the one where Kevin Smith was the hacker that was in the basement. You remember that? The Silent Bob guy. He was
Yeah,
that was the hacker in the basement. Like that's what I
right,
think they all are, right?
right.
Like, I think they're all in the basement somewhere, like hiding out just on their computers doing whatever they're doing, but
Right.
obviously not, right? Like according to this article, like they got whole setups, like they're probably showing up in suits and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Right.
But no, and something else that was interesting here was that they mentioned in the article that some of these people didn't even realize that they were working for a company that was not necessarily legitimate or was a little more nefarious, right? So they were in call centers thinking they were working for an ad company. So they're just like taking calls, again, thinking they're working for an ad company, and here they are in a venture that's not exactly legal. You know what I mean? Like, and when I like, it's one of those things where you think, well, that'll never happen to me, right? Like, I think I would know if I was doing something along these lines. Like, obviously not, right? Like, so they're hiring people. They were able to hire someone not knowing fully what they were actually doing, just saying, hey, no, just sit down here, read the script. If they say this, do this. If they do this, do this. You know what I mean? But yeah, like call center fraud. You know what I mean? That's one of those things where it's on the rise, right? And that's what they were getting these people for. So yeah, this is interesting. Like I don't like even the employee of the month things, like, and if I remember this correctly, like I think they offered them like half their salary or something if they got employee of the month or something like that. I think I saw it said, yeah, an employee of the month who earns a bonus equal to half their salary. What? I don't know. Maybe maybe I do want to get into this. No, I'm joking. I don't really want to get into this. But like, yeah, that's just insane to me that like they're this. But here's the thing. Maybe they needed to be, right? So like maybe it used to be all like how I thought it was with the Kevin Smiths in the basement, right? And so they had to come up with something different to make people want to stick to the game, you know what I mean, or make it worth their time, you know. And so this is what they came up with. Like, no, we could run it like a legitimate business, right? So hackers want job satisfaction as well, right? They want to feel pride in what they do. So yeah, this is interesting. I don't know. So like this is one of our better discussions, I think, Ryan. Actually, to be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah.
This
But
one
what
was this one was on the fly, right? But yeah, so it is alarming. Like you read deeper into the article, you see that it says that managers lied to job candidates about the organization, telling them everything's anonymous here. Like they made it very compartmentalized to obtain talent, and then when the talent would figure it out, it says that eventually employees that figured it out were offered a pay raise to stay, according to the translated messages. So like, okay, you figured out that you're helping us make malicious software, but we can pay you more if we can keep you on board and keep your silence, as well as breaking people into modules, so you only work on one step of or one piece of the whole organization or the whole pie. So it's compartmentalized, like we do with security clearances, right? You had a need to know, and you're able to act on that.
That was also Live Free or Die Hard.
Right.
Remember, they were building different parts to the
Right.
to the thing for the fire sale. So
yeah, it's actually pretty remarkable. Like we laugh about it now, but I'm sure a lot of people were upset when they found out they were doing something that was nefarious, if they even figured it out. Like uh I remember at one point it said that they had Russian headhunters, because I think this is we mentioned at the beginning, this was a Russian hacking group that was identified back in 2021. But they legitimate headhunters, like paying to find talent, to acquire talent and skills, and then during the onboarding process, like all that stuff was legitimate companies working for this non-legitimate company, and you wouldn't know any better, right? As long as they talk the talk and they were paying on time, You wouldn't think anything of it, but that's weird. They primarily want to pay us in Bitcoin.
Right.
But aside from that, they're really nice. They're pleasant on the phone.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable stuff. Like, and how many of these exist? Like this was the one they figured out. You know what I mean? Like, how many of these companies exist? Like, how many times on you put your resume on Monster, and somebody picks you up for contract work? How many of these contracts are legitimate companies? And you probably couldn't distinguish between the two of them if they're good enough. So it's definitely something to think about. Like every time you sign up for a company, you're like, should do some research. We go on Glassdoor real quick,
Yeah.
make sure you guys are legitimate.
Yeah. As you mentioned that, it's like, it kind of makes me even more shake my head. Like, how the hell can somebody get tricked by this? Like, if they, just do some basic research and, or like, I don't know, depending on like the paperwork they make you fill out. Unless you're just like this maybe your first job or something like that. You're not really used to the job onboarding process, and you need to set up your banking routing number and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know, some legit documentation that shows like the company actually exists. And I'm assuming that they would say they have like a website or something, or some sort of like, I don't know. It just seems kind of crazy, but you had
I'm
something
sure
to
all
say,
that
Shannon?
stuff existed though. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure like all that stuff was really out there.
Yeah.
Because you paid somebody for web design, right? You went to a webmaster and said, "Hey, I need my company to look like X, Y, and Z." Like it's actually like, it makes me think hard. Like, man, how many companies are not real companies? How many of these exist? Especially for contract work, right? They just onboard you to have you take care of a project. Like, how many people are trying to break into cyber right now, and no one is hiring, right? Legitimate companies are just like, no, you need 3 years of experience and whatnot. And then this company is like, no, we'll take you. We'll take you. We'll train you. We'll pay for you to advance and get more skill. And then you turn around and find out like you're part of a red team that's attacking other legitimate companies. You're like, oh, wait a minute. But they put you, like, would you have loyalty to that? Because they put you on. Nobody else would hire you. They hired you.
That is kind of hard, right? It's like, nobody else believed in me but you.
Yeah, you believed in me.
You believed in me, Hail Hydra, right?
Right. How much loyalty did they build for their brand by doing this? And how many other companies out there doing the same thing? Amazing. That's all I got to say. Not that I'm applauding crime. I'm not doing that. I'm ingenuity and design, right? Is amazing. Some people would rather be the supervillains, right, out there, than be the heroes. If it's paying good enough, it is what it is, I guess.
So the part you mentioned about the Bitcoin being a red flag, like I'm initially in agreement with that, but then as I started thinking about it, I was like, well, wait a minute, like how that's a good incentive for a lot of people, right? Remember, Bitcoin was up to like 60,000
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it was at one point. You know what I mean? So people were like, okay, I might get back up to that again. And you even had some athletes this past season. I want to say it was football players. There was a couple of football players that got paid some of their contract in Bitcoin, right?
Right.
So like even paying in Bitcoin doesn't seem as big a red flag as you would think it is. Like knowing
Right.
because we do this all the time, we're like, we know that's how the criminals are paid. That's how they demand their ransom. That's how they pay their people. You know what I mean?
Right.
So to us, it's like, no, big red flag. But other people that are out there are like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that 30,000 could go back up to 60 again. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Right.
No, that's true. And it's generational, right? Like we're getting old. So like the younger generation's like, yeah, like pay me like you said, in Bitcoin or other equity in the company or whatever. Like I'd rather do that because like you said, like right now it's a fire sale. At some point it's gonna go back up. And then you get your money. Or you don't. Like in this case, like what happens with the feds figure it out. Like, okay, you don't know that you work for a fake company, but when they find out that you work for a fake company and they seize your assets, like like all them, I was employee month 3 times in a row. Like, well, we're taking all that.
Right.
All that Bitcoin.
That's all ill-gotten gains at that point,
Yeah,
right?
all that Bitcoin comes back to us. Anything you bought with it, that brand new Tesla, that's ours too.
Mm.
Like, you got to be careful. You got to be careful
Right.
out there. Ignorance of the law is not an exclusion of it. But definitely good discussion. Appreciate you guys hopping on the podcast. Continue to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit up all of our socials. And then you hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy on LinkedIn, Twitter, Clubhouse, and TikTok. And you, LeVon?
Yes, sir. You can hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. Stay safe, stay secure.
Take care.